Parents, brothers, sisters, grandparents, guardians, and you, the DePauw class of 2014, allow me to join with this faculty and with the others in welcoming you to this campus and to this day. To the members of the class of 2014, I have a few things I want to say to you. I met many of you last spring. I met many of you this morning. I've been waiting for you. But first, I need to say a word or two to your parents, some of whom are here in this room, others of whom are watching in nearby rooms on large screens, and others who are watching on the internet. To the parents and guardians, thank you for bringing us your daughters and your sons. You have brought us the future. There are rare moments when the familiar past and the unknowable future are joined together. Moments when you can look forward at one and remember the other at the same time. This is one of those days. You must feel so acutely the question mark of the future when you looked at your son or your daughter today. What will they be? What will they become? Some part of you surely has to be thinking, not yet. This is too soon. It's one of the inevitable features of being a parent that when you look at your son or your daughter, you can see what they are today, but you're also seeing what they were like when they were 12 or 3. Today echoes with every step they have taken. Bringing your son or your daughter to a college or a university then is an enormous and unbounded act of hope. This faculty and this administration recognizes and acknowledges and is inspired by that hope. We are joined in covenant with you because of it. We will honor it as we are honored by it. This is an old school. This is a good place. Groups of DePauw faculty have welcomed new students to this campus for 174 years. These grounds contain the voices of thousands of students and hundreds of DePauw faculty who have gone before. And it has thrived all those years because it's a committed place, a place of learning, a place of joy, a place of challenge. I would like to invite you now to take this quiet moment in your heart, parents, when you sit in seats apart from your sons and daughters, and think of them, wish them luck, wish them boldness, wish them courage, and wish them joy over the next 4 years. As you leave this place in just a few hours, with SUVs and minivans now emptier than they were last night, keep those thoughts in your hearts. I would also ask, again in a quiet moment, that you remember this faculty in your thoughts and wish the same for them. Your sons and daughters will feel your thoughts, and we will too. It's a special day for all of us, after all, and this is a special class. It's time for a new season. Now, to the great and talented class of DePauw University class of 2014, now it's my chance to say a few things to you. You have been through a lot getting to the seats in this auditorium today, and I'm not just talking about this morning or yesterday as you've been packing up your cars, arriving in town, considering your rooms, and considering your roommates. I'm speaking more about the whole sense of the past few months. Over the past few weeks and months, I suspect you have shifted wildly between feeling remarkably grown up and then feeling far too young. It hasn't felt like a journey, but more like a roller coaster ride. There are few moments in your life when you're as gloriously old as when you're finishing your final year in high school. Life moves in comfortable rhythms. Days roll by like familiar music. Looking back, it all seemed so easy. You could walk through the hallways of your old school blindfolded. But now it's all new again, and you're new again. And somehow, as your parents are moving boxes around and rushing off to Walmart, you're supposed to figure it all out. I remember my first day of college thinking I was supposed to somehow feel different than I actually did that day. I had in my mind this idea of what college was supposed to be, to look like and seem like, and how I was supposed to be once I was there. And in no way did those visions, these dreams of college, actually match up with what was going on in me that day. On that day, it all felt too big one moment and then surprisingly small. It was as if I had skipped some important step that would have explained it all to me. The sense of being young kept throbbing up and surprising me. Yet every time my parents actually treated me like I was young that day, or in the weeks leading up to opening day, I was just ready to explode. My older brother was with me as I was moving in, and he kept referring to me loudly by my old childhood nickname, a name I was desperately trying to shake off by the time I got to college. And there he was, bellowing it out in front of all these people. I didn't speak to my brother for a decade. And these tensions can keep piling up. One of the most excruciating aspects of preparing for college, perhaps, is hearing adults, or at least anyone older than you, tell you how much they wish they had your opportunity and how they would love to go back to college. Then they tell you about all the fun and interesting courses they would take if they had your chance, how they would take courses on Shakespeare. It's always courses about Shakespeare or art history. When those moments arrive, the best you can do is conjure up kind of a polite smile. And if you hear enough of these sort of declarations about the deep academic life all these people would pursue if they were sitting where you are now today, you begin to imagine the world isn't actually filled up with accountants or doctors or teachers. You begin to imagine the world is populated instead by thousands of frustrated Old English theater or Picasso students. And that while going to the store or passing through a drive-thru, most people are just dreaming about Hamlet. What these good people are really saying, of course, is that they wish they could have the sense of possibility before you now, the belief that every door is open. What they want is, again, to feel a true, pure sense of wonder about the world. And surely today is about wonder and about possibility. It turns out, after all, that it is actually all about Shakespeare and art history and physics and French. It's about the whole world, and the doors are open. So if there ever is a day you should give yourself over to that feeling, that sense of wonder, it's today. It's right now. On this day when you're sitting here trying desperately not to be young, I want to ask you to keep alive those emotions we associate with the young: openness, vulnerability, a belief in some form of magic. What I fear, though, is that you will stop this wonder in you. Your concerns, your desire not to be in the wrong, your clear desire not to make some incorrect gesture could push it all aside. So members of the class of 2014, let me right now spare you of some of your concerns. Since you will be intensely focused during these early days about life here on this campus, let me predict some things. Over the next few weeks, you'll worry about what to wear to class. In the end, you'll dress up wearing pretty much just what you did last year. Over fall break, a surprisingly large number of you will decide to get some radical new haircut. This will be a mistake. By early December, some campus-wide backlash against Lady Gaga will begin. You will all have claimed never to have listened to her. You will each check your Facebook page 9,000 times this month. And unfortunately, your class's love of any book, novel, or movie about vampires will continue. There, I just saved you 10 months of fretting about what is going to happen outside the classrooms of DePauw. But now let's talk about good mistakes, the bigger, better concerns. Inside the classroom of this university, you're actually supposed to get something wrong. You're supposed to make mistakes. You're supposed to disagree with someone, and you're supposed to proclaim something one day and realize you need to proclaim something entirely different the next. One day you're going to disagree with a classmate, and you're going to argue with them. Then, to your dismay, you're going to find you were wrong, and you're going to have to make amends. I'm here to tell you that there's not one member of this faculty who will ever think less of you for making those mistakes. The faculty gathered here today have built lives around these moments. There is not one person on the stage with me who didn't once make a mistake in class or got something wrong. But I can also tell you that every one of these faculty members, despite these mistakes, or because of them, fell in love with something once in a classroom or in a laboratory, and they built a life around that. Some part of us feels just like you, trying to balance the impossible with the certain, thinking about how to take very large ideas about music or biology or philosophy, and have them all make sense again. It's our first day, too. We gather ourselves up each late summer and we think again about the books we loved, ideas we considered, and the essays we once read that still somehow surprise us. I've always thought that education was somehow about both the old and the new. It always seemed both quiet and then noisy. It's what you're feeling today. The path to wisdom, to be educated, is always to be vulnerable to that dizzy feeling you must be feeling right now. Education keeps you on your toes like that. It always throws you. So on your way to wisdom, a path lined with inevitable, wonderful mistakes, keep your sense of wonder about you. Keep that feeling of uncertainty that you have today. Don't take that away from yourself in the event you're rushing off to someplace you think is better. Keep it alive, perhaps quietly alive, but there, right before you. And if you do that, there will come a day when you comprehend some very difficult concept for the first time, or finish an extremely challenging book, or master a piece of music. And it will be a sign that you've obtained some form of mastery, some type of wisdom. Campuses do that. They can take the world you know and they can rearrange it in spectacular, beautiful new ways. And they can change you. And there will come a time when you're walking on this campus, probably by yourself, maybe in the evening, and you will know exactly what that means. And when that moment hits you on this campus, and I know it will, and I promise it will, stop for a moment, breathe it in, take it in. You will never be as wise as you are at that moment, and you will never be as young. Life, a good life, is made up of these moments. They are the architecture of happiness. So what you're feeling today is your first best moment at DePauw, and it's our feeling too. We will have always had this day together. It reminds me of a line, a toast actually, from Dostoevsky's great novel, The Brothers Karamazov. Let us remember when we were all here together, united by this good and decent feeling. Now, it turns out the very next time you might find yourself struggling to negotiate the strange sense that you're both very young and very old will be the next time this class is gathered together as a whole with this faculty. That time will be the morning of commencement in May 2014. In 1,300 days from now, this faculty and your family are going to gather together again. But on that day, your commencement day from college, you will be wearing robes too. And you're going to walk across the stage in front of the library and in front of this faculty, and you will be a chemist and an economist, a dancer, or a writer. And if we've done our job, if we've fulfilled the promise of a liberal arts college or a school of music, you will know that day that the world is full of wonder and magic. And if we've done our job, and if you've opened your eyes and your mind and your heart, someday you will find a place that needs your unique talents, in a career that draws on your every part, in a life full of wonder and books and music and miracles, large and small. And on that day, I will read you a charge, read by the DePauw University president to every class on the day of their graduation. I would like to read that charge for you today so you know where you're going. And here it is. Young men and women, you are entering a community entrusted with a noble inheritance. You are heirs of all that is past. Men and women of rich mind have labored, and you have now entered their labors. Prophets and sages, scholars and scientists, poets and public servants have wrought with patience and sought truth, and the abundant fruit of that toil is now yours. It is yours to use. It is yours to increase. It is yours to bequeath to your successors. The university charges you to be strong, to acquit yourselves with integrity, and to be loyal to your highest ideals. Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think of these things. So on this Saturday afternoon, class of 2014, as we welcome you on a day that starts one of the most crucial chapters in your lives, I can tell you that DePauw is true, DePauw is just, DePauw is lovely, and DePauw is in good report. And you are too. So welcome to DePauw. I can't wait to meet every one of you, to work with you, and to see how you're going to change us and how you're going to change the whole world. And thank you, good luck, and welcome to DePauw.